And good evening, East Alabama and West Georgia. Welcome to live severe weather coverage on Dr. Don's Weather. It is Friday, March 14th, 2025. It is 7:21 p.m. Central, 8:21 p.m. Eastern. And we are going to talk about some weather here on Weather Talk Live. Now, first, let me start this by saying no severe weather out there right now. Nothing to be concerned about over the next several hours. We may have a few thunderstorms rumble across Alabama after midnight tonight into the early morning hours. And you can see the graphic there on the screen for the severe weather possibilities this evening. Right now, there's nothing on radar of any great concern. I'll show that to you in just a few moments. We don't have anything in the state of Alabama. As a matter of fact, we have just a few storms moving over the Mississippi River, just moving into extreme western Mississippi. So if we have any storms tonight across Alabama, it's going to be several hours from now. So there is nothing pending at the moment of any concern. There's no severe weather out there at all. But if you look at the graphic on the screen, you can see that there is a marginal risk for severe weather across East Alabama later on this evening. And that's going to be a very small chance of severe weather. And we're talking about only part of the Dr. Don coverage area in East Alabama. We're talking maybe western and northern Randolph, Cleburne, Calhoun, Cherokee, Clay County, parts of Talladega, down into Tallapoosa, Coosa, Elmore, and Montgomery, and maybe extreme eastern Autauga and parts of Lowndes County under just a level 1 risk. That is very small risk of severe weather. And then if you go back a little bit further to the west across central Alabama, basically from Gadsden down to Birmingham, Clanton, and down to Selma, that is a level 2 risk. And then over in West Alabama, from about Tuscaloosa west over to Mississippi, we're looking at a level 3 risk. That is tonight. That is round 1. And that's after midnight this evening, probably toward 2 a.m. and continuing through maybe 5, 6, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for that risk this evening. That is not going to be the main show. The main show is going to happen tomorrow evening and during the overnight tomorrow night. Now, before I change slides over to tomorrow, let me say a few things. What I'm about to show you is rare. We typically don't have this type of threat in Alabama, especially East Alabama and Georgia. It's very rare that we see level 4 and 5 in the state of Alabama. That's what I'm about to show you. There's a lot of people who deal with weather anxiety. And so when we're looking at a weather event that could be as significant as this one could be, social media, in my opinion, goes overboard with eye-catching headlines, trying to get people to come click on their page. I've even seen some trusted media outlets today posting some things that are not, it's not bad information, but the timing of their post couldn't be worse. And I'll just say this. There's a station, I'm not going to say where it's at, but it's in Alabama, television station, that made a post earlier today about, and I'm sure they didn't mean anything by it, but the timing was really bad, about it would be a good idea to get your phone out and videotape your house, your property, all of your personal belongings for insurance purposes, insinuating that if a tornado hits your house and you lose everything, you'll have a videotape of it. Well, here's the thing, folks. That's not a bad idea, but that's not a bad idea anyway. That's not a bad idea for a multitude of reasons. And those type of suggestions really should be done on blue sky days, not the day before we are expecting a major severe weather outbreak. That just sends people's anxiety through the roof. when they do those sort of things. And I have no idea if they did it on purpose to get click-throughs or if they were being sincere. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but I wouldn't have posted that today because that's scaring people. The governor of the state of Alabama declared a state of emergency for all 67 counties statewide earlier today. That scares people to death. But let me explain to you that a state of emergency is very common. Doesn't mean that we have a emergency taking place and that we're in complete pandemonium, which is what it sounds like. What a state of emergency does is simply relaxes rules and regulations, which allows certain things to happen to pre-position equipment. It relaxes transportation rules. There's a lot of things that declaring an emergency does. And it's very common nowadays for governors to do that pre-storm, just to be on the safe side. And then, of course, we're seeing all of the armchair quarterback meteorologists on social media that's going out there and finding the absolute worst-case scenario on the models, and then that's what they're posting out there on social media, and they're painting this picture of doomsday. And, folks, here's the deal. Severe weather's been happening for millions of years, and it's hopefully will continue a million more years or longer. The sun's going to come up Sunday morning, and the majority of you will not have to deal with significant damage. Will there be damage in Alabama and Georgia when the sun comes up Sunday morning? I'm afraid, if I'm honest with you, the answer is yes. There will be damage. And the potential is there for some folks to have to deal with significant damage. But does that mean everybody's going to have to deal with it? And the answer to that is absolutely not. As a matter of fact, the majority of you watching me right this moment will not have to deal with storm damage on Sunday morning. You're not going to have that problem. Now, you might have to live a few hours without power. But severe weather typically does not affect a very large area all at the same time. Tornadoes typically are a couple of hundred yards wide, and they typically last a few miles. Now, we could see some tornadoes on early Sunday morning that could last a little bit longer than that. We could be looking at a significant tornado outbreak here. But every single person's not going to have to deal with this. I just want to preface what I'm telling you. Bring that anxiety level down a little bit. This is not the first time we've been through something like this. It's not uncommon to go through a weather event with this potential magnitude in the springtime in the southeastern United States. We don't deal with this type of threat very often, but it is not unheard of and it's not uncommon. It has happened before. All right, so let me show you the latest graphic from the National Weather Service, and there is one thing that has changed, and that is the timing has changed a little bit, and we have added a level 5 risk for a pretty good area across West Alabama and Central Alabama, and it even gets into East Alabama. Now, that's the highest risk level you can have. That's at the top of the scale. So I think that there will be some significant damage in parts of the state of Alabama tomorrow, potentially caused by some significant tornadoes, strong tornadoes, long-tracked tornadoes. And even over in East Alabama and West Georgia, where we have a category level 4, I think that we'll see some of those tornadoes there as well. And I cannot tell you how many text messages and emails I've received today wanting to know about this particular location, that particular location. What about? If you live in the state of Alabama, if you live in the state of Georgia, if you're in the state of Mississippi or Florida, there is a better than average chance that severe weather will affect your area as we get into this on Saturday night into Sunday morning. Let me show y'all. See, we got this going on right here. and she's not happy. She just climbed up my leg, and so I thought I'd share with you. All right, I'm about to put her down because her claws are very sharp. So I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen at a particular spot on the map. There's no way. I can sit here all night long and tell you that there's a high risk of severe weather for Alabama and Georgia, and inevitably someone's going to say, well, what about Lineville? What about Franklin? What about Roanoke? You're in Alabama. You're in Georgia. There is a better than usual risk of significant severe weather for all of Alabama and all of Georgia. Don't get caught up in the different colors, the different levels, the different level threat. There's a risk, and it is a high risk. So the best thing you can do is be prepared to deal with severe weather if it does happen in your area. And the things that you can do to be prepared, of course, you got to have a NOAA weather radio. I hope that all of you have got that by now. You need multiple ways to receive severe weather information. That includes a good app on your phone. Subscribe to your local mass notification systems in your different jurisdictions. In Randolph County, it's the Randolph County Emergency Management Agency's regroup. You can go to their website and sign up for that. Of course, follow, like, and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on both YouTube and Facebook. Know your safe place. That should be the center of the lowest floor in your home or place of business. Make sure you're prepared to go to that safe place, and what should you take with you to that safe place? Anything to cover your head, like a football helmet, motorcycle helmet, batting helmet. If your kids play baseball, those are good to have around. You also want to make sure that you're wearing hard-sole shoes. Tomorrow night's probably going to be a good night, maybe, to sleep in your clothes, just so you don't have to waste time if a warning is issued for your area. You want to make sure you have access to a mattress, a baby bed mattress, futon, cushions off of the couch, pillows, blankets, anything that you can cover yourself with. Make sure you keep your phone charged all day long tomorrow and tomorrow night so that you don't lose. If you lose power, your phone won't go dead immediately. Make sure you've got a flashlight in your safe area. And it's a good idea to have something that makes a very loud noise, like a whistle or a can of compressed air, those little horns that you can buy at the department store, so that in the event that you do get trapped in your home, you'll have some way of getting responders' attention if that were to happen. These are just things you can do to prepare. And, of course, the best idea is to be weather aware. And if you're watching us here on Dr. Don's Weather, and right now close to, over 1,000 of you are, it's a good idea to stay glued to your phones and watch all of our live updates, and we're going to be doing many of them over the next several days. And if you live in a mobile home, the best idea is to go to a safe place other than that mobile home when a watch is issued. Tornado shelter is the best idea, and there are multiple locations available for you across East Alabama. I'll just show you a few of those. Woodland Senior Center opens at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. They're at 646 County Road 51 in Woodland. Then you have the Wedowee Senior Center. It opens at 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, 24 North Main Street in Wedowee. The Waverly Community Shelter at 2094 Patrick Street in Waverly. You have the Town of Wadley that opens at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Actually, I think Wedowee opened theirs today. But Wadley opens theirs at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. They're at Tallapoosa Street and Broad Street in Wadley. That's a brand new shelter. Southern Union, the Opelika campus, opens when a watch is issued, and they're located at 301 Lake Condy Road in Opelika. You can call the Lee County EMA for more information on that one. Let's see, what else have we got here? 5 Points. This one is open. It opened yesterday and will be open through Sunday. You can call the number on the screen for more information. They're at 10180 County Road 222 in 5 Points, Alabama. And the Abanda Community Shelter at 1077 County Road 139. Their address is Wadley. They're in Abanda. They will be available for you as well. You can call dispatch at the number on the screen to get more information about that. So that's a look at the shelters that we know of that are open. If you have some that I don't have listed there, if you'll send it to me on Messenger, then when we take a break, I'll get those up there for you. Let's run over to the radar. Let me take it full screen, and I'll show you what's happening out there right now. And then when I finish this, I'll head over to the chat room, and we'll see what's going on in the chat room. So as you can see right now, there's nothing happening across Alabama or Georgia. It's all quiet out there. It's just a really nice early spring evening out there. Then we'll take you in over toward the Mississippi River. We've got storms coming out of Arkansas into western Mississippi and out of Louisiana into western Mississippi. And I'll bring the radar loop current. We've just had our first statement issued for a storm there just north of Greenville, and that's a special weather statement for that cell that's crossing over the Mississippi River. So nothing severe out there right now, but this is the area that we'll be watching for later on tonight or early tomorrow morning. That could potentially bring us some heavy storms. I think the majority of these heavy storms will be over northeast Alabama, though a few of them could move south of I-20 2, 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. But this is not the main show. This is not the big one. The big one will be developing back over Oklahoma and Texas later on this evening, and that's what will be in here late tomorrow afternoon and into the overnight tomorrow evening. So no concerns out there right now. Next several hours, no concerns across East Alabama or West Georgia for severe weather issues. All right, let me head over here to the chat room. If you have asked a question already, I probably won't see it, so repost it, and we'll see what's going on here. All right, so we're being told, Leslie says that the Hogansville Police Department will open the courthouse. So if you live in the Hogansville area, you might want to check on that. Yes, that is correct. Downtown Roanoke, gapping the bridge. They are, and actually I talked to them today. They are going to offer a place for you to go. Now, this is not a FEMA-certified tornado shelter. However, it is a place for you to go if you live in a mobile home, and it's they're calling it, yes, Bridge the Gap Storm Station, and it will be open from 12 noon on Saturday through 8 a.m. on Sunday, and they're at 908 Main Street in downtown Roanoke. Again, this is not a certified FEMA tornado shelter, but it is a place for you to go if you live in a mobile home or if you're just not comfortable where you live because of a lot of trees around your house. They will be available for you there at 908 Main Street in downtown Roanoke. It's the old Kane Communication Building, if you guys know. If you're from Roanoke, you ought to know where that's at. City of Valley Community Center will also be open. Okay, so if you want a Dr. Don t-shirt, if you will go to the top of any of our videos on Dr. Don's Weather, if you'll just scroll down to any of our daily videos that we post every single morning with your weather forecast, at the very top up there, you'll see a whole list of ways that you can support us, and one of them is our weather store. As a matter of fact, it also will post in here on the chat room. Here it is right here. Let me just grab it right quick. There you go. That's the link to our weather store right there. And you can head over there. We got T-shirts, we got hoodies, we got coffee cups, we got baseball caps. Part of the proceeds come back to support us here, Dr. Don's Weather. So that's how you do it. I don't know about any of the shelters other than the one down at 5 Points. I did talk to the mayor yesterday, and you can bring your pet to that shelter, though it does have to be on a leash or in a crate. That's the shelter down at 5 Points. 5 Points is open now. They opened yesterday. Okay, Hannah, y'all look. So most of you know I'm an emergency manager during the day, and this afternoon has been off the chain. We had a brush fire late this afternoon, and we no more wrapped up with that. We had a working residential structure fire. I literally just walked in the door like 15 minutes ago, and my phone has been absolutely on insane blow-up mode all afternoon. And so there's a lot of messages I have not been able to check, and I apologize for that, Hannah, but I will go see if I can find that for the Marengo County shelters. All right, so the Valley, Alabama Sportsplex will open soon. So there you go, Valley. Y'all have got a place to go now. Thank you, Kim. We try. Hey, Taylor's in the house. So, look, Taylor does this thing. They're called banana pudding rolls. It's like cinnamon buns. And it's got this banana cream cheese stuff going on top of it. OMG. Y'all can search her on Facebook. It's Taylor Dorsey Taylor. You can order them. I'll even deliver them. They might not all make it, but I'll deliver them. Seriously, though, she's a fantastic baker. And she deserves an attaboy. It's a good woman right there for what she has to deal with. Yes, the most impactful severe weather will occur tomorrow evening into early tomorrow morning. That's for East Alabama and West Georgia. You know, maybe the timing has changed just a wee bit. Maybe an hour earlier, we could start seeing some supercell thunderstorms. But I think for the most part, after 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, before that window of opportunity will open. Parking deck. Are you asking if that's a good idea to shelter in a parking deck? That would not be the best idea, but if it's your only option, yeah. You know, because parking decks are open, so the wind is going to come through there. It can actually channel that wind and make it even stronger as it comes through. I wouldn't call a parking deck the safest place in the world to be, but it certainly would be better than out on the road in your car. I understand, Barbara. I get you. Again, I know for a fact the shelter in 5 Points in Chambers County will accept pets. but you do have to have them either on a leash or in a crate. All right, so what we don't want to happen tomorrow, Christopher's asking a good question. We do not want sunshine on Saturday. What we want to happen, this stuff you see on the screen crossing the Mississippi River, we want that to grow a little bit bigger. We want the coverage to be a little bit wider. And we want it to come over here and provide rain across Alabama. And then as the sun comes up tomorrow morning, we want it to rain for several hours tomorrow. You know, it'd be nice if it would rain all day tomorrow and stay cloudy. That way we wouldn't have any sun. I'm afraid that's not going to happen. I'm afraid that probably by 6, 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, all this rain will lift to the north, and then the clouds will start to break up, and then the sun's going to come out, and then the surface is going to heat. That's called building surface-based instability. Now, you don't have to have really, really hot weather for it to be impactful on the storm system, because what we look for is the difference between the temperatures at the surface and the temperatures in the atmosphere above. So you have to take into consideration, you know, we may not make it, but to 76, 77, 78 tomorrow, which doesn't seem very hot. But in the upper levels of the atmosphere, the temperature is going to be sub-zero at lower levels in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that difference between those sub-zero temperatures in the atmosphere and that 75 to 80 degree temperature at the surface is what causes all the turbulence and the significant severe weather parameters that are expected to be in place tomorrow. So we don't want sun on Saturday. We want it to stay either rainy and cloudy or at least just cloudy. So cross your fingers. Angel, I cannot tell you how bad it's going to be in Woodland. I can tell you that there is a high risk of severe weather over the entire states of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. And that means all modes of severe weather, including significant, strong, long-lived, long-track tornadoes, EF2s and EF3s that cause a lot of damage. Now, that does not mean, I'm not saying, and I'm not suggesting that every single person in all of those states that I just mentioned will deal with a tornado tomorrow. That certainly will not be the case. Odds are you will not deal with a tornado tomorrow. But the ingredients will be in place, and every square inch of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, even up into Tennessee and down into Florida, has a high risk of severe weather tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. Yes, the intensity will continue through tomorrow night. That is correct. Well, that Torcon thing is something the Weather Channel does. That's not an official meteorologist term. That's not something that the National Weather Service does. But I think the last time I saw one of the Weather Channel posts, they had the Torcon index somewhere around a 7 or 8. It may have gone up to 9. And that's really high. The risk area is Category 5 over parts of Alabama. There you go. The purple is the Category 5. That's as high a risk as you can have. And then the rest of the state is a risk 4. That 4 goes into Georgia. I've got a Georgia graphic, though Peachtree City puts so much information on their slides, it's kind of hard to see. But maybe you can see it right there. You can see that Category 4 risk makes it well into West Georgia and Northwest Georgia. And then the Category 2 risk all the way over to the South Carolina state line. I'm sorry, the number 3 risk, level 3 risk, makes it all the way to the South Carolina state line. And then we have that 2 up into South Carolina and North Carolina. So we have a significant risk of severe weather, really, from western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, the entire state of Georgia, maybe with the exception of the coastal regions, the entire state of Alabama, the entire state of Mississippi, pretty much the entire state of Tennessee, and even over into Louisiana, that risk exists as well. $997 Noonan Road, Carrollton, pets in crates. I'm assuming that is a shelter location. Mark, those lines in the sky are condensation. They're not spraying anything. That's the difference between the heat coming off of that engine and the cold air it's flying through. Hey, Angie, watching us in Roanoke. And my man, Lewis Battle. How you doing, sir? Yes, absolutely. Be weather aware 24/7. Coach Chuck Markham says the best football play-by-play call I ever had in my career when I was doing Handley High School football on the radio was Lewis Battle running down the sidelines in Daleville, Alabama. That was an exciting ball game. We should have won the state championship that night. All right, so the 5-point shelter is not handicapped accessible. There are several, hang on, let me get back up there to that. People in 5 points uses a wheelchair for their mobility as well as myself, okay? Jen's watching us in Opelika. Sherry's watching from Wadley. Friendship Church on County Road 56. Is that supposed to be Woodland? It says Vineland. Opens tonight through tomorrow. Rock Mills in the house. Hey, Michael. Missy's asking the question, how bad will it get in Woodland, Alabama tomorrow? Missy, I cannot tell you. I can tell you that every square inch of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida has a high risk of severe weather late tomorrow afternoon and during the overnight tomorrow night. Included but not limited to EF2s, EF3s, long track, strong, violent tornadoes, damaging straight line winds, and large hail. It's impossible to tell you exactly where that's going to happen, but that risk is very high for all of those states I just mentioned, everywhere. Will everybody have to deal with it? Certainly not. But it's impossible to tell you exactly where it is going to take place. I think it is almost a guarantee with the type of setup that we have out there right now. Unfortunately, it's going to happen somewhere. And there may be more than one somewheres by the time this is all done and over with. There may be multiple different locations across the Deep South that have to deal with tornadoes. But will everybody have to deal with it? No, that won't happen. What we're thinking is going to take place is that sometime after about 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, because of the sunshine we will have had all day long, as that cold front gets closer to Alabama, we're going to start seeing singular, discrete thunderstorm supercells develop. Now, those storms are where you would expect to see those bigger, larger, long-lived tornadoes, the EF2s and the EF3s. Don't know, they may not develop, and they may not start at 4 o'clock. It may be 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock before they start. Or we may not have any supercell thunderstorms at all. But then sometime after midnight, probably around midnight or 1 a.m., we're going to have a squall line that's going to move from west to east, that's going to push across the entire southeast and clear all this stuff out of here. Now, along that squall line, there could be some small spin-up tornadoes and damaging straight-line winds in excess of 70 miles per hour and pea-sized hail. So that's kind of how we think this thing is going to play out. I think where we do see tornadoes, there's a chance it's going to be pretty bad. But I don't think everybody has to deal with that tomorrow. Mary Ann, let's see. Mary Ann says, moved to northeast Georgia mountains from West Georgia last September, and you have told us more about what to expect in our new area than the local reports. Well, that's good, Mary Ann. I'm actually up here in northeast Georgia also. White County, to be exact. That's where I broadcast from. I cover the areas of East Alabama and West Georgia because I spent 22 plus years down there. And I was in broadcast radio then. And with modern technology the way it is now, I could be anywhere as long as I have internet access and be able to provide coverage to an area of Alabama and Georgia that is left behind by the major television markets in Birmingham and Atlanta. And that's not a diss toward the television stations. They do what they do. And we fill the gap here on Dr. Don's Weather. Thank you, Valerie. I'll take a look at it when we take a break. Amber's asking a good question. She's asking, what about tonight? There's a marginal risk that we could see a strong thunderstorm across East Alabama, maybe right up there around the I-20 corridor, around 2 or 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. But tonight's threat is not significant, comparatively speaking, to what we expect tomorrow night. We're watching them, and you can see there on the screen those storms you see that are forming out by the Mississippi River. That's the system that'll come through here around 2 or 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we're going to keep an eye on that, but I don't expect that to be the problem. If we're going to have a problem, it's going to be tomorrow night. There was somebody else in the room that doubled up on their anxiety medication today because I work with her. So Mallory wants to know what time she should be home from the hair salon tomorrow. I'd be, the window of opportunity for tomorrow, the timing according to the National Weather Service, is anytime after 4 o'clock. I mean, we'll just have to see how things evolve in the morning. I mean, you may not be doing anything at 4 o'clock, but that's when the best opportunity for all of this to start begins to open up at about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Now, is it going to storm everywhere the entire time between 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and 1 or 2 o'clock Sunday morning? No, that's not the way this works. That's just when the weather atmospheric conditions should line up to allow storms to start developing anytime after about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Tracy Smith Johnson, how bad you think in Roanoke? Every square inch of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Northwest Florida stands a high risk of severe weather on your Saturday. All modes of severe weather will be likely, including long-track, long-lived tornadoes, EF2s and EF3s, damaging straight-line winds, and golf ball-size hail. It would be absolutely impossible to tell you exactly how bad it's going to be in one pinpoint location across the Southeast tomorrow. Just understand that if you live anywhere in those states I just mentioned, you have a high risk of severe weather on Saturday afternoon late into early Sunday morning. You're mostly welcome, Amber. What is a good to-do list to prepare to have company during a storm? Are they coming to hang with you because they want to shelter at your location, or are y'all just having a dinner party? If they're coming to your location, Cindy, if they're coming to your house because you have a more substantial structure for them to come hang out in, that's fantastic. But you want to make sure that you got all the things you need, and of course, flashlights. You want to make sure your cell phones are fully charged. You want to make sure you got multiple ways to receive severe weather information. And folks, listen to me. Do not depend on outdoor warning sirens. They're not, let's say this together. Say outdoor warning siren. They're designed for outdoor warning, not indoor warning. So don't rely on outdoor warning sirens to be your source of receiving severe weather information. They have their purpose. Their purpose is to warn you at the ball field, in the parking lot at the grocery store, on the playground at the school. Their purpose is not to warn you inside your home. Now, if you happen to live within a half a mile of a fire station that has a siren, that's good for you. But don't depend on that thing to wake you up inside your home at 2 a.m. in the morning with a thunderstorm happening outside and that rain pouring down and the hail hitting your roof. Odds are pretty good you won't hear it. So don't rely on outdoor warning sirens to be your source of receiving severe weather information. You got to have a good app on your phone. You need to sign up for your local municipality or government's mass notification system. You need a NOAA weather radio. That's the baseline. That's the number one thing that you should do. But identify your safe room, which would be in the center of the lowest floor in your home. And you want to have items in there already, such as flashlight, water. You want to have pillows and cushions, a baby bed mattress, futon mattress. Have some type of head covering for everyone that's going to be in that room, such as a motorcycle helmet, batting helmet, football helmet. Make sure that everybody's got hard-soled shoes, and you need some way of making a loud noise. So in the event that you were to get trapped in rubble, you can get the attention of first responders. Oh, look, Cindy has a basement. There you go. You're going to be the life of the party, Cindy. Everybody's coming to Cindy's house. Cindy has a tornado shelter. It's called a basement. That is absolutely the best place you could be. Are you fully underground or partial? If you're partially underground, stay on that side that's underground. If you're fully underground, you're good to go. Oh, Autumn, you're too much. There you go, son. That's a good slogan right there. We might put that on a T-shirt. Thank you, Deborah. Hey, Amy East, watching us in Woodland, Alabama. Okay, so Cindy's basement is a full basement. Yeah, you're good. I'd still have, blankets and cushions and pillows and even a mattress if you got one. That way you'd be protected if you were to have falling debris. But if you've got a full basement, that's where it's at. Yeah, there's a good one. Thank you, Rhonda. Take your medications with you. If you have medications that you're really dependent upon, make sure you keep them kind of gathered up. So if you do have to go to your safe place, or if you go to a tornado shelter, don't forget to take your medications with you. So Hannah tells us that Friendship Church will be open tonight through tomorrow on County Road 56, Vineland, not Woodland, in Marengo County. Okay, I'm sorry. Hannah, I'm just not used to having somebody from Marengo County in here, but that's cool. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. And we will watch Marengo County tomorrow night. And if we see anything significant down there, I will tell you about it. Gather up more folks in Marengo County to join us and watch us, and we'll certainly pay attention to you down there. I don't care where you are. There's life-threatening weather. I'm going to tell you about it. Christy's thinking about going to her family in Athens, Georgia. It's about 45 minutes down the road from where I'm at. And I think the tornado threat will be a little bit lower in Athens, Georgia than it will be across Alabama. But it cannot be ruled out completely in Athens either. Martin's watching us up in Heflin. Vicky watching us in 5 Points. Deborah just bought her first pair of rainbow boots yesterday. Rain boots. I got a pair. What do I do with that? They're coming pretty handy. Well, folks, there's a comment there that says, thank you for helping me calm down. That's part of what we do. I understand. I get it. A lot of folks have weather anxiety. And, there's no reason to get excited and upset about it. It's weather's going to take place. It's going to happen. Y'all have heard me say this before. It was happening when the light switch was turned on. It's going to be happening when the light switch is turned off. It is scary when we're talking about significant tornadoes, big violent tornadoes. But again, all of you are not going to have to deal with this. It's not like we have a solid wall of tornadoes that are going to sweep across the southeast tomorrow. That's not what we're talking about. Could it be really, really bad in some areas? Yeah, it could be. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you at all. And this is certainly a weather event that we don't see very often, and it should be taken extremely serious. but it's not going to be a situation where every single person is going to have to deal with it. Gray Hill Church of God on County Road 87 in Woodland will open their basement at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Sandy loves that I say siren and not siren. I don't think siren is proper in the Deep South. I think it is supposed to be siren. Hannah says she is practically glued to her phone right now. Oh, look at that. Paige is wanting me to get all kind of technical up in here. Well, let me see. If I can figure out how to explain that and it makes sense without really getting geeked out here. Let's see. Okay, so that is a meteorological parameter that represents the coalition of vertical and storm updraft. And this kind of gives us an indication if the storm is rotating to the ground. Radar shows you the direction that the raindrops are moving. That's how you can tell the storm is rotating on radar. Helicity kind of gives us an idea of whether we've got an updraft going into the storm vertically, so you can see if the storm is feeding off of an updraft or a wind that's being pulled up into the storm. It kind of identifies right-moving, rotating storms, if that makes sense. And I know there's been a lot of those maps shared on social media today. And it appears on some of those maps that there are helicity lines all across Alabama. And people look at that and they think, oh, gosh, that's where the tornadoes are going to be. And it looks like the entire state of Alabama is covered with tornadoes. And that would just be wrong. That is not what we're looking at tomorrow. Will there be a number of tornadoes tomorrow? Yeah, I think there probably will be. But some of those maps that folks have been putting out there of the tornado parameters, the Torcon indexes, the updraft helicity, those things are just a piece of the puzzle. It's not the whole picture. It's just part of it. There are different pieces that meteorologists use to paint the entire picture. It's like, an artist has multiple different paintbrushes to use for different types of strokes. Well, meteorologists have multiple different types of tools, and helicity is one of them. Radar, rotation, velocity, the tornado index. All these different things are different pieces of computer models and weather data that all come together to paint a picture. Any one of them is not going to confirm anything most of the time. And in the world of technology as it is, and anybody can have access to models, people look at them and they assume they're one thing and they're not. Models are Models in most cases take a little training to understand what it's telling you. It may look like that this is where all the tornado tracks are supposed to be, or might be, or this is where the computer thinks they may be. But that's not what it's telling you. It's telling you that conditions in those areas may be more conducive for the helicity to be there. It doesn't mean that's all you got to have a tornado, if that makes sense. Janet's watching us from Tallapoosa. Tyler's asking for a prediction for Salem. What about Salem? Tyler. So tomorrow, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, every square inch of those states I just mentioned will have a high risk of severe weather, to include long track, long-lived tornadoes, EF2s and EF3s, damaging straight-line winds in excess of 70 miles per hour, and large hail. High risk across every one of those states. Can I tell you exactly what it's going to do in Salem? No, sir, I cannot. And if I did come up with something, it would be a lie, because there's no way to tell you exactly what's going to happen in Salem. But no, if you live anywhere in any of those states I just mentioned, there is a better than average chance that you will deal with severe weather tomorrow. And the window of opportunity opens at about 4 o'clock Central tomorrow afternoon and runs through probably midnight or shortly after. All right then, folks. It is 9:17 over on the Eastern time zone, 8:17 Central. I just realized that clock had Eastern time on it. We'll get that fixed. And also, my weather forecast is stopped. Get that fixed, too. So I plan on watching what's going on with these storms coming across Mississippi. We'll come back. Let's see what time again. It's 8:18, 8:09. So let's call it maybe 11 p.m. I'll come back and we'll do another Weather Talk Live. And I'll talk to you again about the latest data. We get an update at 11 o'clock, so maybe 11:05. I'll come back and give you the absolute latest information from the Weather Service. And we'll look at those storms in Mississippi and see where they're moving and whether or not we think they're going to affect certain parts of Alabama. So we'll come back around 11 o'clock and do that. And, yeah, and then we're going to spend a lot of time together tomorrow and probably do wall-to-wall tomorrow night for many hours, the way things are looking. So I'm going to step away. Hey, Donna McKay, there's the mayor over on the West Bank. I love you, too. That's my friend right there, and her husband Dale, too. Them some good folks. Right there, certainly, absolutely. And look, if you're in the Wadley area, don't forget about the tornado shelter there in Wadley, brand new. Dana, the 4 o'clock is Central. Window of opportunity, 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Central. All right, so I'm going to step aside and get a little rest and take a look at the latest information around 11 o'clock, and then I'll be back in here, and we'll do this for another 20, 30, or 40 minutes and give you the latest information right here on Dr. Don's Weather. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here in a couple of hours.